Well, Australia may just be about to witness a bit of history. Could they have a new boxing world champion in their midst in Bilal Akkawy? Well, he has been given the shot of his life on Sunday when he takes on British fighter Ryder in Las Vegas. For all the latest on that, a big Sunday of boxing on Main Event, we're joined by our boxing expert, Paul Upham. Paul, great to catch up with you. Now, Bilal, tell us a bit more about the story. He got the fight on short notice. Is he both ready mentally and physically? How did it all come about?
Look, he's very blessed because for the last 2 years he's actually been training with Canelo Alvarez, who's the highest paid boxer in the world today. And he's been training for the last 2 years over in Mexico in his training camp, promoted by the golden boy, Oscar De La Hoya. And they obviously love what they see from Bilal Akkawy. 20 wins, no losses, big punching power. And he was going to fight on the undercard, and then one of the other fighters pulled out, Canadian, at short notice, so they've slotted Bilal Akkawy in. And look, it's the perfect opportunity, perfect opponent for him, but to have that support of Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya behind you, it can only help you, trying to get towards a world championship.
So he was ready physically, as you say, because he was preparing for a fight regardless, but being ready physically and being ready mentally and experience-wise for a fighter who's obviously a real veteran of the ring is a totally different thing. Is he a realistic chance?
Look, the best thing about Akkawy is the head on his shoulders. There's no ego there. He just works hard all the time. A lot of the Australian veterans have talked about how impressed they are, about how he's committed. His father was a professional fighter, Mick Akkawy, and Johnny Lewis actually said the father was one of the hardest punchers he ever came across. So he's got good pedigree there. And look, he just works really hard, and you can only learn. Being in touch with Canelo Alvarez and his training team, sparring with him, hundreds of rounds a year against one of the best fighters pound for pound in the world, it can only help you develop it so much faster than being here in Australia. And that's what we see so often. The Australian fighters step up and they're not ready for that top level. Now, Ryder's a good experienced fighter, 27 wins, 4 losses. Every time he's stopped up to the A level, he's lost. But he's had some good wins in the last 12 months, and this is his chance of a lifetime too. To win here will take you on to a bigger fight on the world scene at a world championship. It's an interim world title, but it'll lead to a guaranteed world title fight. So, the sky's the limit for the winner. So, Bilal Akkawy, what an opportunity. And fans in Australia can see it on Main Event this Sunday from 11 a.m.
How much, being a relative unknown, I guess, on the world scene, a strength for the 25-year-old Aussie? And how does he really match up against this experienced Englishman?
Look, he's got good punching power. He's a knockout artist, but he's improving his skills. He punches to the body like anybody, as good as anybody I've ever seen in 20 years I've been covering boxing. And he's very aggressive. When you see Akkawy fight, you want to say, hey, when can I see him again? Because he's very entertaining. He's not a boring fighter. The only negative in this fight is that Ryder's a southpaw or left-hander, so Bilal's going to have to prepare for that. It's a little bit being a reverse angle. But I just think he's a rising star at 25. Ryder's 30 years of age. This is probably his maximum level. And I just think Bilal can win this fight, maybe by late-round stoppage. He's not going to try and be too aggressive too early, but I just think with the support of the golden boy, Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez, wow, the hardest thing in boxing is not winning the fight, it's getting the fight, and he's already got the fight, so Bilal's already won.
Well, let's hope he's actually got the hand in the air come the final round on Sunday for him. Tell us more about his opponent, though. He's obviously done the rounds, pardon the pun, and he's there for a reason.
Look, he's fought for the British middleweight and super middleweight titles. He's had a lot of rounds, a lot of experience. I think he's had 100 more rounds of professional experience than Bilal, and that experience is going to be the biggest problem for Bilal Akkawy. As I said, he's a left-hander, but look, he's got a good punching power. I think he's had 25 knockouts and 27 wins. He has lost 4 times, which gives me confidence that Bilal can stop him and beat him. But look, it's not an easy fight. I can't sit here and Bilal's going to win easy. I can't say that. It's going to be a real fight. It's really competitive. So if you want to see a competitive card of boxing in Las Vegas, and this is big-time boxing, the world is watching. Let's watch on Sunday, Main Event.
Man, he knows how to travel in style too, doesn't he? Just tell us the story about how he even got to Las Vegas and how do you not get blown away by this sort of travel?
Look, you've got to go by private Learjet, haven't you, from Mexico, fly with the star Canelo. He tweeted this photo out yesterday, and, it just shows you how tight Bilal Akkawy is. And, Canelo is the highest paid boxer in the world. He's guaranteed $365 million over 5 years for 10 fights, $36.5 million US a fight. It's incredible the support that he has in Mexico, his home country. They just love Canelo. It's a celebration of Canelo Alvarez this weekend in Las Vegas. And for Akkawy to be part of it, it's like I said, it's an opportunity of a lifetime to get that in, to the top of boxing. You can't pay for that.
Before we get into the main event, I just want to ask you, though, about that. You did mention at the top he's got a good head on young shoulders, so to speak, in Bilal. But how do you ground yourself after travelling in style like that and being in that sort of environment, seeing the bright lights of Sin City and Vegas? He's got a fight in a couple of days. Is he the sort of guy that can ground himself quickly, and what will the final few days of preparation be like?
This is the test. This is where we'll see how the 25, whether he can handle the pressure and the expectation and the hype. Costa Zoo always told me the hardest thing for boxers to go and win away from home. People underestimate how hard it is to win away from your home country. So to go to Las Vegas and not get caught up in that hoopla of the Canelo experience, that's going to show us a lot. And look, he's only had 21 fights. You know, we're going to see a lot from Bilal because he's going to be fighting at a level we've never seen him before. So this is going to tell us, we're going to learn a lot about Bilal Akkawy. All about it now is just getting the weight right, making sure he weighs in the super middleweight limit, 168 pounds, and not getting too emotional. And when you talk to him, you understand the sort of person that he is, that he hasn't got a big ego, he's not all about the bright lights, and that's what gives me confidence that he can handle. But until we see it, this is the test. He's been studying, now here's the exam.
Briefly, can you give us an outcome? If the Aussie wins, is it stoppage, distance? What are we talking?
I think he wins by stoppage, maybe 8 to 10 rounds. I think he's just going to work the body really hard and Ryder won't be able to take the pace. And I'm fairly confident, but hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I like the script. Let's see if it plays out that way. Certainly enjoying the build-up to this one. We keep talking about Canelo Alvarez and the hoopla that comes with him. It is a massive weekend for all sorts of different reasons, but he's the main fair. How does he shape up against Denny Jacobs? Is this going to be a walk on the park?
No, this is certainly not. You see Jacobs and Canelo standing toe-to-toe. He's about 10 centimetres taller, Jacobs. He's the IBF world champion. Canelo's got the rest of the belts. It's for the undisputed world middleweight title. And you know, Jacobs is in his prime. He's 32. He's known as the miracle man. An amazing story. He was actually diagnosed with bone cancer back in 2011 and 12. He missed 2 years. He came back to win world titles. He had a close loss to Gennady Golovkin, who we saw have 2 close fights recently with Saul Alvarez. But Jacobs is in his prime. He's a big middleweight, and Alvarez is going to be as good. This is as good as a fight at middleweight that Alvarez can make right now. And he's going to be physically the smaller guy. He's going to have to use his skills. He's not the knockout puncher that he was now. But I just think this is a great fight, and I can see either guy winning. It's one of those fights, best on the night. I can't sit here and say Alvarez is going to win easy, and that's what we want to see in boxing. We want to see competitive matches. And if you want to get a pay-per-view, go to the main event this weekend because you will not be disappointed. It's going to be a barn burner. Not
a bad way to spend your Sunday afternoon. You can go through the main event, then flick it back over to Fox Sports and watch all the foot in the afternoon.